I'm going to show you how we're going to use pointillism to paint in our Aboriginal picture. I've got 5 symbols drawn fairly large. I have a very limited color choices. I have yellow, I have brown, I have green, and I have blue. I have 4 Q-tips. I'm going to have to share my tray with another person. They are also going to have to use my 4 Q-tips. So be mindful of that, all right? So I'm going to take 1 Q-tip and I'm going to pick a color. You know what? I think I'm going to start with my symbols first. And I think I'm going to choose brown because I'm going to do my kangaroos. Okay, so I can just dab it in there and get a big old blob, or I can kind of wipe it off and kind of have less of a blob. It's going to create a different type of pointillism. So now I'm going to go straight up and down with my Q-tip, and I'm just going to press down gently to get my point of color. I'm going to bring that down a little bit so you can see. Okay, so press down, point of color. Press down, point of color. Oh, I need some more paint. Okay, I'm going to do this slowly and neatly, kind of like it's a stamp. Alright, I don't want to have a bunch of little itty bitty, really quick blobby marks. Okay, I want them to be nice and clean so that way I can tell what the symbol is. Okay, yes, the Q-tips kind of start to fall apart, but Q-tips are not something that I can order from my supply catalog. So we have to make them last because I only have so many of them. Okay, so there I've got my kangaroo. Okay, if it was me, I would continue and I would finish all of those. But I want to show you some other stuff, okay? I have to fill in my whole area. So maybe there's some grass over here, so I'm going to kind of use some green to fill in. But for right now, I want to let my brown dry. I don't want to rush and make it all messy looking, okay? So I'm going to zoom out here. I'm going to put my Q-tip on the tray just out of the way so that way my partner can use it if they want to. Okay, so I'm going to come down here and maybe work on my water hole. Alright, so I'm going to go into the blue because that makes sense to me that it would be blue because it's a watering hole. So I'm going to get some blue and I'm going to start from the inside out. So I'm going to start with my first circle, which is actually a teeny tiny circle. So I think I'm just going to make it a dot. And then I'm going to make my concentric circles. Okay. Make some more paint. I do not want to lose the effect of my symbols. That is why I told you to make them big in the last video. That's why I showed making them big. If you make them teeny tiny, you're not going to be able to go over them very easily with the Q-tips. Okay? Yeah, you're going to have to share. Yeah, they might have the color you want. But guess what? You've got plenty of space to do something else at that exact moment in time. Okay? So you want to make your dots neat. You don't want to make them messy. Okay, I'm using the tip of my Q-tip. Okay, I'm not using the side, I'm using the tip. Woo, that's a lot of paint. Let me wipe some of that off. See, sometimes we get too much paint and then we end up with blobbies and we don't want it to look blobby. Okay, that's alright though, we're just going to keep going on. Okay, so there I've got one watering hole. So then I want to maybe go over to my next watering hole. Now with the concentric circles, I find it easier to start in the center and work my way out. This one I think I'm going to have to make it a little bit bigger so that way I can see all the circles that I need to have to show that it's a watering hole. So pay attention to that. Don't just go, oh, I'll just not include that. Remember, you're using symbols that are not necessarily our symbols, so it's important that you create them accurately So that way you're really showing what the Aboriginal symbol is, not that you're just doing something just to do it. You got to show that you're using the correct symbol. Okay? So then I would go with the movement of the water here. 3 wavy lines. Okay? The more paint you have, the bigger the blob, the bigger the points are going to be. Alright? You can use both sides of the Q-tip, but I highly recommend that you know what color you're using as they get kind of messy. Okay? So, pointillism, Aboriginal design, okay? You're going to tell a story. You need to have 5 symbols before you start painting. You also need to make sure that you are drawing the symbols accurately. Eventually, the whole entire paper will be filled in with color, so also think about that. You're only going to have 4. I might add in a 5th color, but right now you're only going to have 4 colors to work with. So be thinking about that as you're planning out where your colors are going and how you're going to do your Aboriginal design. You also have to share. You also only get 1 Q-tip per color. So, Aboriginal pointillism.